Morning, K-Mac here to discuss the upcoming games involving Clemson and South Carolina, both going on the road, both playing games within their respective leagues. K-Mac, let's begin with the game you will cover. Clemson at Louisville. The Tigers are slight favorites. Louisville, a team 0-2. They've not been 0-3 since 1984, so you know they're going to throw everything at the Tigers. Do they have enough?
Yeah, I think they do have enough. Louisville has maybe underachieved a little bit to this season. Not maybe, they definitely have. They should not have lost at home to Houston. I know Houston's a solid squad, but they should not be beating Louisville at their place. Maybe a peek ahead for the Cardinals. They're going to throw everything they have at Clemson this week. They are going to pull out all the stops. Bobby Petrino is going to pull every rabbit out of the hat that he has. It's a huge game for them. It's a season saver for them. They could be 1-0 in the division, get a big win over a top 10 team, at least in the coaches poll, 11th rank in the AP poll. Short turnaround for Clemson, their first real test, just a lot of different factors. I think Ellis Johnson said on the show a couple of weeks ago that 75% of the teams on the road in those midweek games on the short turnaround lose. They might not have a guy like Deshaun Watson, Norton out. So I'm picking Louisville in this one, even though they're a 5-point underdog. It started as a pick 'em, went to a 5-point underdog after Louisville lost. But I am taking the Cardinals at home.
I'll go with the Tigers. First of all, you just don't know about Louisville's quarterback play. It could be any one of three guys, and none of the three has stood out at this point. They all do some things well, but they do some other things not so well. And I'm not so sure that they're going to have quality receivers to throw to. Two of their top receivers are out. Clemson's defense, I think, is for real. Again, we talked about going into the season how much they might take a step back compared to last year so far. Heck, I think they've taken a step forward. If you can do that when you were number one last year, they look extremely good. Now, I know the competition the first two times out, but I look at the players and the way they're performing and doing what they're supposed to do. Now, I will say this. Louisville doesn't have the same defense it had last year, and they went to Death Valley last year and held Clemson under 300 yards. Of course, Deshaun Watson was injured in the first quarter. That had something to do with the fact that Tigers won the game without scoring an offensive touchdown. That being said, a healthy Watson, even without Mike Williams, the Tigers have plenty of receivers. They feel good about their running game. I'm going to pick Clemson to win this thing, and I think they'll cover and probably win it by double digits.
Big win for Clemson.
Now to Athens on Saturday at 6 o'clock. The reeling Gamecocks, I guess we can say. People think the Gamecock world thinks the sky is just falling all around them. Now, they can fix a whole lot of things by going into Athens and pulling off the upset. They're big underdogs, but, historically at South Carolina, when Steve Spurrier has been a double-digit dog, he's done well. He's 8-2 in that scenario. Is that
against a spread or is that against straight up?
That's against the spread when they're double digit. Oh, I see what you're saying. They've won 8 of those 10 games.
So the only 2 losses this first year at Georgia when they were a huge underdog in that one and almost won. They would have covered the spread in that one, Sidney Rice season, and then last year against Auburn. So those are the only 2 losses. That is an impressive stat. I'll say that.
You got a great memory. So as far as the Gamecocks and Georgia go, I'll go first here to put you on the spot. I can't see the Gamecocks winning this thing. I think that they will finish within the boundaries of the line, 16 points. But how can they generate offense? That's the thing. I think their defense will give them a fighting chance. They'll probably come up with a scheme to focus on Nick Chubb. Why wouldn't you? Leaving themselves vulnerable to some deep balls in the passing game. And their corners have not proven that they can get up on receivers and shut anybody down yet. They've been playing pretty soft so far. But they can put pressure on the quarterback. And Grayson Lambert is not a mobile quarterback by any means. So he'll be back there to be hit, maybe forced into some mistakes. They'll need a break like they got against Kentucky, Sky Moore intercepting and setting them up for a touchdown. They'll need a couple of those kind of breaks to, unless they can keep it a low-scoring game, and I mean the winning score in the teens maybe. If they can do that, I'll give them a chance to win. But if the score climbs into the upper 20s and 30s, no way.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be able to get into a shootout. Last year they had an offense that could keep up with teams at least. Their defense was terrible. This year, their defense is showing signs of life. Again, they've been a little bipolar, awful in the first half, great in the second half. They need to put it all together, but they've shown what they can be. They can stop some pretty good offenses, and North Carolina and Kentucky have pretty good offenses, certainly. But South Carolina is a big-time work in progress. Perry Orth didn't even make the trip to Athens the last time they played there. He was a 6th-string quarterback the last time South Carolina and Georgia played. Now he's going to go out there in front of 90,000 screaming Bulldog fans and try to win a football game. That's going to be tough. But I do think if they run the ball, eat some clock, maximize their possessions, don't turn it over, and their defense can play the way they've shown in the second half for 4 quarters, that'll keep them around. But Georgia just has too many guys. They have too many things they can throw at you. This is a team that was picked to win the SEC East and go to Atlanta. I think at the end they will pull it out. But I do see this one being closer than maybe some people anticipate. South Carolina, kind of like Louisville. I mean, these guys they're going to have, it's gut check time for them. And one thing I will say about this program, they haven't quit when they've been down. Even last year when they were getting rolled up almost every week, they never really quit. They kept playing, and they ended up making it into a bowl game and upsetting Florida and finding a way to get in. So I think they'll play hard, but I don't think they have enough to win.
Yeah, they've been right there in these SEC losses of late. The last 5 SEC losses by a combined 22 points, including this year against Kentucky. So it's not like, with the exception of Texas A&M last year in SEC competition, the games they've lost, they've been right there. But that's not good enough. You've got to take care of your business and not blow leads and take advantage of opportunities. And they've not been able to do that in those games. We'll see if the Gamecocks can maybe find some magic in Georgia. Maybe a Brandon Bennett ghost over the top or something will help them pull off a huge upset and put this season and this program back in the right direction, because people are going to see a season and a program going down the drain if they are embarrassed in Athens.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, any loss is going to be tough because they'll be 0-2 in the SEC. But if they see some signs of life, and they saw some signs of life in the second half against Kentucky. But, Brandon Bennett, I think they feel good at running back. They might take Steve Tannehill. They get 18 out there for a game. But Perry Orth, it's Orth time for the Gamecocks.
All right, we shall see. Split decision tonight.
I haven't been right on the Gamecocks all season.
I know. That concerns me. We agree on what's going to happen in Athens. We disagree on what's going to happen Thursday night in Louisville. We shall see. Feel free to leave your comments and your picks right here on this story at sportstalksc.com, and we'll talk to you Wednesday nights and throughout the rest of the week here on Sports Talk.